Have you ever felt like every failure in your life came out of nowhere? What if I told you none of it was random? Every betrayal, every setback was the result of predictable moves, and you didn't see them because your emotions blinded. Your mind didn't think about it. Every downfall you've faced, it didn't come from fate. It came from you, from them, and from the environment around you, all moving in predictable patterns. But you didn't see it because you were too emotional to calculate, too reactive to analyze. You thought like the masses, acting on impulse, riding the high of the moment. But the winners, they don't react, they design, they don't chase feelings. They build mental blueprints while others drown in emotion. They don't just play the game, they control the board from the shadows. That's what I'm here to give you, a mind that cannot be manipulated, a mind that doesn't flinch, a mind that walks into every challenge not asking, how do I survive? But how do I win with silence, precision, and dominance? Understand this, most people lose before the game even begins because they think emotionally. They feel disrespected, so they lash out. They feel urgency, so they rush. They crave validation, so they overshare. They want peace, so they submit. Every one of those emotions is a weakness waiting to be used against them. But you're not here to be another forgotten name in the noise. You're here to learn how to turn chaos into opportunity, to calculate 5 moves ahead while they struggle with one, to see patterns before they form and control outcomes before they arise. Strategic thinking is not about overthinking. It's about controlling the variables before they control you. It's about removing what's unnecessary so only the essential remains. It's about cultivating a calm so cold, even chaos bows to your composure. This world does not belong to the loud, the soft, the emotional, or the frantic. It belongs to the prepared, the precise, the patient, the ruthless mind dressed in calm. You don't need noise. You don't need recognition. You need self-mastery, so complete. Others begin adjusting to you without even realizing it. This is the art of strategic thinking, and from this moment forward, you're no longer here just to survive. You're here to dominate. Welcome to Stoicism Philosophy Daily. Let's begin. We uncovered how emotions aren't your ally, they're your most visible weakness. Now let's go deeper. Precision doesn't mean feeling is wrong. It means feeling is exploitable. Every time you let emotion take the lead, someone sharper is watching, calculating your next move for you. Anger makes you predictable. Desire makes you transparent. Insecurity makes you loud. Guilt makes you obedient. And every bit of that, every drop, turns you into a puppet dancing on someone else's strings. If you want to master the art of strategy, you must kill the urge to react. Don't speak to defend. Don't act to prove. Don't move to be noticed. You must become immune to provocation. When someone disrespects you, don't bark. Observe. When someone doubts you, don't explain. Outmaneuver. Because the moment you react, they've already won. Your attention is currency. Your reaction is the transaction. And every time you pay it out freely, your position weakens. Strategic thinkers don't operate from emotion. They operate from calculation. They may feel, but they do not act on feeling. They pause, they process, they plot, and when they move, it's surgical, precise, clean, untraceable, no mess, no noise, no drama, just results. You must build an inner stillness so cold that even your enemies feel it before you speak. You walk into a room and they know, this person doesn't seek approval. This person doesn't need to be liked. This person cannot be baited. That's power, the kind that doesn't scream. It whispers and still controls the room. So stop justifying. Stop begging. Stop seeking emotional relief. The world doesn't move because of how deeply you feel. It moves because of how clearly you think. Burn this into your mind. Emotion is noise. Strategy is signal. And if you truly want to win in life, in power, in business, in relationships, you must train yourself to act only from the signal. That's how the untouchables rise, not through force, not through feelings, but through absolute control of the self. Next, let's explore the most silent, yet most powerful weapon in strategic warfare, silence itself. We uncovered how silence isn't empty, it's full of control. Now, let's dive deeper into how it becomes your most lethal weapon. Silence is the space where weak minds panic and strong minds plan. You don't need to fill every gap with words. Let the silence make others squirm. Let them ramble. Let them expose themselves, because while they're talking, you're collecting data. When you go silent, people begin projecting onto you. They guess what you're thinking, they create false narratives, and if you're wise, you won't correct them, because their confusion is your leverage. Strategic thinking begins with restraint. You don't fire every bullet. You let them waste theirs first. You let them reveal their fears, their insecurities, their true intentions, all while you remain still, observing, waiting, deciding. Never underestimate what silence can destroy. It dismantles egos. It breaks emotional manipulation. It shifts power dynamics in an instant, because silence forces others to chase understanding, and the one being chased holds the upper hand. So stay unreadable. Let your moves be felt, not declared. Let your presence speak louder than any explanation. The moment you stop reacting, the moment you stop explaining, you step into psychological superiority. Silence isn't empty. It's packed with intent, with control, with power. And in a world addicted to attention, the one who doesn't beg to be heard becomes a threat no one can define. Let them wonder what you're thinking. Let them fear what you're not saying. That's the game. And silence, that's your sharpest weapon. Next, we move into the core. How to control the narrative without ever chasing it. We uncovered how controlling the narrative means controlling the power. Now, let's see how to use it. Like a true strategist, they laugh because they don't understand what you're doing. Let them laugh, because while they mock your positioning, you're moving in shadows. And by the time they realize your real play, it's already too late. They think you're weak. Good. They think you don't know better. They think you're out of options. Perfect. Let their assumptions serve you. Because when you control the narrative, you control the tempo. And when you control the tempo, you control the game. Stop explaining, start shaping. Start feeding stories that support your silence. Not lies, but strategic truths. Just enough to mislead. Just enough to buy time. Just enough to let the mask do the work, while your true plan unfolds underneath. Everyone is selling a version of themselves. The only difference is, most don't know what they're selling. You will. You'll sell the ghost they chase, while keeping the truth locked away. You'll give them a character, while you remain the author behind the curtain. This is how you win. By never letting them set the frame. By never correcting what empowers your control. By being exactly who they expect until you're not. Comment the phrase, "I move in silence, they move in panic," and let the world keep guessing what you're really building. Next, we go to the heart of strategic mastery. Always think to moves ahead. You learn to think to moves ahead, to engineer, not react. Now comes a truth most people can't stomach. Sometimes the strongest move is no move at all. It sounds counterintuitive, but sometimes silence speaks louder than retaliation. Sometimes letting them believe they've won is how you get them to lower their guard. You don't need to showcase your strength immediately. True power moves in layers, in phases, and when it strikes, it feels like destiny. But you know, it's just strategy set in motion long ago. So learn to study patterns. Watch behaviors. See how they speak, blink, rush. Everyone telegraphs their next 3 moves, but only the strategic are trained to read them. And once you can read people, you can lead them. You'll stop being surprised. You'll stop falling into emotional traps. You'll stop explaining your strategy to those still lost in their own confusion. You won't react anymore. You'll start designing. Next, detach to dominate. You cannot dominate what you're emotionally attached to. Attachment clouds judgment. It makes you hesitate when you should strike. It makes you explain when you should walk away. It makes you fight battles that don't align with your endgame. Detach, not because you don't care, but because you care too much about control to let emotions weaken you. Let others spiral in chaos. Let them drown in their need to be liked, loved, approved. You need nothing from them, and that's why they can never control you. You don't chase closure. You don't beg for apologies. You don't plead for peace. You set your terms, and when they're violated, you walk. You observe everything, but engage selectively. You trust patterns, not promises. You choose silence over arguments, and most of all, you never reveal what shakes you. Detachment is misunderstood. They think it means you don't feel. Wrong. It means you feel deeply, but choose discipline over drama. It means you can walk away from what no longer serves your mission, even if it once felt like home. This is where real power is born, not in being cold, but in being clear. You're not here to fix people. You're not here to explain yourself. You're here to build a life on your terms with or without anyone's permission. And when you're detached, you don't panic when someone walks away. Next, we'll uncover the core principle of becoming unshakable. Emotional discipline, the foundation of a mind that cannot be moved. You learn the power of detachment, how walking away without fear gives you ultimate control. Now, we go deeper into that dominance by learning how to adapt, observe, and use their desires against them. You don't beg when someone misunderstands you. You don't fall apart when things break down. You adapt, you observe, you reposition. And that, in itself, makes you dangerous. Because the one who can walk away at any moment controls everything. Rule number 6, use their desires against them. Everyone wants something: validation, status, love, revenge, attention. And the moment you understand what someone truly wants, you own them. Because desire is the strongest form of self-betrayal, people will sell their discipline, their secrets, even their dignity, just to touch what they crave. But you never chase, you observe, you listen, and then you use their desire to shape their behavior. This is psychological warfare. Not loud, not violent, precise, quiet, invisible. You don't pressure them, you tempt them. You don't demand loyalty, you make them fear losing access to you. Because once you become what they desire, but cannot possess, you've already won. The strategist understands you don't need force to control, you just need leverage. And leverage is born from unmet desire. So learn to recognize cravings, not in words, but in actions. How do they react when ignored? What do they overdo to hide their insecurities? What do they chase without reason? People reveal everything when they think you're not paying attention. And once you see what drives them, you can redirect the desire like a river to serve your advantage. They want approval. Delay it. They want recognition. Give it, then take it away. They want closeness. Withdraw without warning. Give them a taste, then disappear. Let them spiral. Let them guess. Let their need grow into obsession. This isn't cruelty, it's calculated control. Because while they burn for more, you stay calm, detached, centered. You know the game, and you're never the one being played. Comment the phrase, "I shape desire. I do not obey it." If you're ready to become untouchable. Next, we explore the mastery of becoming psychologically invisible. How to remain undefined, and therefore uncontrollable. You learned how to use people's desires against them, without ever revealing your hand. Now, it's time to go deeper and master psychological invisibility, being present yet unreadable. You never show the full picture, only fragments, only reflections. They see just enough to stay intrigued, but never enough to understand. This is the art of being there but not known. A calm presence, a neutral voice, a silent force. No outbursts, no rants, no emotional tells. They ask what you're thinking. You smile. They test your reaction. You give none. That doesn't make you passive. It makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. People crave certainty. When they don't get it, they invent it. They project assumptions. They build stories. And every false story they create becomes a tool for you to use. Let them think you're weak. Let them think you don't know. Let them underestimate your depth, your silence, your composure. Because once they think they've figured you out, they let their guard down. And that's when you strike. Invisibility doesn't mean you vanish. It means you blend. You stop revealing. You stop clarifying. You stop explaining. You let them carry the burden of understanding, while you carry the power of not being understood. Be like water in their mind, fluid, shifting, everywhere and nowhere. Don't attach yourself to labels. Don't commit to a fixed persona. Show them only what serves your strategy. Hide the rest. The more they try to read you, the more you rewrite yourself. And in a world addicted to transparency, the one who remains mysterious becomes the most feared in the room. You learn the art of mystery. How the unreadable become the most feared. Now, it's time to ascend further. Become the phantom behind every outcome. The force that shapes everything without ever being seen. You don't need credit. You don't need to be thanked. You don't even need to be known. Because you're true. Power isn't in being seen, it's in being undetectable. You influence quietly. You bend conversations without ever raising your voice. You guide people into decisions they think are their own. But really, you planted the seed long ago. They never know it was you. They believe it was their choice, and you let them believe it. Because you don't need gratitude, you already have their obedience. Be the architect of moments, not the actor inside them. Let others chase glory. Let them exhaust themselves trying to be noticed, while you remain in the shadows, adjusting the frame, pulling the levers, setting the tempo. That is real control. The phantom doesn't get caught in petty ego battles. The phantom doesn't argue to prove a point. The phantom watches, calculates, strikes when it matters, and disappears before anyone realizes what happened. This level of strategy requires a different hunger, not for praise, but for control, for precision, for total mastery over outcomes that others simply call luck. You don't play to be liked. You play to engineer. You orchestrate conversations so they unfold on your terms. You create conditions where opponents beat themselves and walk away thinking they outplayed you. That's the brilliance of invisibility. You don't just control what happens. You control who they blame for it. So let your fingerprints disappear. Let your movements be untraceable, because the moment they don't know it's you is the moment they can't stop you. Comment shadow above strategy if you're ready to enter the untouchable mindset. You learned how invisibility becomes power, the power to influence without exposure. Now, you enter the final level of strategic thinking, the untouchable mindset. When your actions are stripped of need, they become precise, surgical, unstoppable. The untouchable don't panic when things fall apart. They were already prepared. They don't beg for answers. They plant questions in the minds of others. They don't chase peace. They are the calm in the storm, not because they ignore chaos, but because they were trained within it. You want to win? Then stop playing like everyone else. Stop needing to be understood. Stop trying to be the hero. Start becoming the strategist, the one they can't provoke, the one they can't predict, the one who walks away first, not from weakness, but as a calculated exit that leaves the other side spinning in confusion. And here's the paradox: the more you detach from needing anything, the more everything begins to revolve around you. Not because you're lucky, but because you've eliminated the one weakness that breaks most people: dependence. You're not here to be liked, not here to be chosen. You're here to become the version of yourself they can't reach, because they can't read you. You walk through this world with your emotions mastered, your intentions sealed, and your presence sharpened into a weapon. That is the untouchable mindset. It's cold, it's silent, it's powerful, and now it's yours. If you're ready to live like a shadow above the game, to think sharper, move quieter, and dominate smarter, comment shadow above strategy below. And if this video lit something inside you, if you felt yourself shift just by listening, then this is your next step. Like the video, subscribe to Stoicism Philosophy Daily, turn on all notifications, because this isn't just content, it's training. And every second you hesitate, someone else is already learning how to outplay you. Your move, you've reached the end. But this isn't a finish line, it's a beginning. From here on, you no longer react, you design. You no longer chase, you command. From this moment, you don't need to be loud to be heard. You don't need to be liked to be unstoppable. You only need absolute control over yourself, because when you master yourself, you don't need to control anyone else. They'll adjust to you without even knowing why. That is the power of an untouchable mind. Until next time, stay calm, move slow, but never move backward.